Hey everybody, Jonathan Scroggs here on the Modern Day MacGyver page on YouTube. Sorry, I don't make enough videos. I'm constantly doing the repairs and doing the work, but I don't think to stop and make a video of doing it. But because I'm an old school mechanic, originally trained the old ways, some of y'all know what I mean by that. Old time ways are a thing of the past anymore, and a lot of younger mechanics don't know some of these trade secrets that I was taught by old timers. So today I wanted to talk about what to do if you've got a water pump, water jacket related stuff like thermostat, intake, even on a heads. I'm just going to show you quick, so please don't think that I'm just making light of it, because it is a very careful and tedious thing that you need to take your time with. But I wanted to show y'all, even with the carburetor, a lot of these modern parts, especially when they come from other countries, let me just throw that out there, that it's not American made, they don't always have the quality in their products. They're cheaper, sure, but many times they'll be warped. Well, back in my day, as even though I haven't kept up with the monthly, yearly expense of staying certified, I once was a master certified automotive engineer. ASC gave me patches in all areas back in that day. But so I've got 30 years under my belt of schooling, education, and the degree in automotive engineering. But I learned more. I love trade schools, don't get me wrong. I think that they ought to have trade schools at every high school across this country, because I learned more at trade school than I did from high school. Anyway, when you have a surface that might be warped or not sealing, a lot of times you put a performance carburetor on an aluminum intake and there's gaps. You can spray the starting fluid around it and you hear the engine rev up and it exposes the leak. This is not my machinist file, just so you know. This is a general, nice, true, straight file. But I wanted to show y'all, you have a warped surface. If you are careful, by hand, you can plane any aluminum, even cast iron heads. I just got done planing the heads where this intake is about to be bolted down. And as you go with your file, you keep it very steady, you keep it flat, and you will quickly start seeing where any discrepancy is, because you'll see the fine scratch marks, and then there'll be a spot that's polished where it's not touching still. And I won't make the camera come over and zoom in to show y'all, but basically the idea is you keep doing it and then crosshatch. Go the opposite direction as you did the first. You're basically making an X with all of your fine scratches. And by doing that, you are truing up the surface so that if it's a thermostat housing or the carburetor or where the water pump meets the block, you're truing up the surface to prevent future air leaks, water leaks, and so forth. I know every different mechanic has different opinions, but this is just how I was trained by the precious older gentleman that taught me in the shop. Thermostat housing, same thing. Make sure you don't want it to rock. You don't want to hold your hand back off, but the pressure needs to stay over the unit. I'll come closer, basically. Pressure needs to stay over the unit so that at all times it has to stay flat. It's hard to do up in the air. But anyway, you can hand plane. You've heard of wood planers. Now, I will tell you, do not be tempted to just grab your typical palm sander and put on there, because the soft pad of a palm sander is not a perfectly flat surface. Now, if you have a very true plate of steel or a flat surface, you can lay down 400 grit, 1000 grit sandpaper on top of the unit and then drag your aluminum piece back and forth over that. That would be another way you could plane the surface. But if you will take the time to plane every surface when you're going back together on an engine or anything with aluminum or warped, I've seen sometimes the cast iron blocks have a warp so bad that no intake gasket in the world would ever bolt down and seal. But I would take my machinist file and I would start with that. And it doesn't take long on aluminum. Like, I've got to probably do 30 more seconds of this and it's done. On a cast iron, I'd be on it 10 minutes per spot. But those are the little things, going the extra mile, doing the little extra effort to where you know you're going to seal off these parts that won't always marry up together, or a gasket that won't always seal. Last thing before I leave you, if you ever are doing, there's so many different things they say nowadays that are opposite of the way I was trained, opposite of the way that what we've built engines for years and years and years. But there are some mechanics that will tell you if you use a cork style gasket on water, if you ever use a cork style gasket on water, some mechanics say don't ever put anything on it. Well, I do. My brother just came in the back door. I'll do a copper base, like a Permatex gasket sealant, and then on all the bolts, any kind of a water jacket, this is a thread sealant that we'll put on the bolts. But that is how to plane the surfaces of any kind of a water or air that doesn't marry up properly. Y'all have a great day. Keep spreading love. The Modern Day MacGyver on YouTube. Bye now.